Okay, so I'm going to go over the homework worksheet number 1. We're going to start by drawing a working line so that we can construct a segment whose length is the difference of AB and CD. So I draw my working line, I measure AB, I put my compass point on the end point of the segment and swing that arc. So that's how long AB would be. But then I need the difference of AB and CD. So I am going to mark off or measure how wide CD is, and then I'll come here and I will swing my compass back the other way. And so then if from here to here is AB and from here to here is CD, then that means my difference is from here to here, and I'm going to label that PQ, and that would be my answer. To find the midpoint of a segment, we're going to do the football construction. So I'm going to swing one arc this way, put the compass point on the other endpoint without changing the radius of the compass. Swing another arc that way. Connect the intersections of the two arcs. And then that means that this is my midpoint. Next, I want to make an isosceles triangle whose base is CD and whose leg is AB. So I'm going to start by drawing a working line for my base. I'm going to measure CD. And copy that segment. So these are my 2 points. And then I'm going to measure AB. And I'm going to swing arcs so that I can find out where the vertex of this isosceles triangle is going to be. And it will be right here. And so then I make my triangle by connecting that intersection point with the 2 endpoints of the base. Alright. Next I'm going to construct a square whose side is congruent to CD. So I need to start by making a perpendicular because squares have right angles. So over here, I'm going to draw a segment, but I don't want to make it too big. I want my vertex of my square to be right here. So I'm going to do the smile. So we're going to do the smile construction for this guy. Here. And now I'll make my chin. I'm going to actually make it up top this time. Okay. And now I can draw a perpendicular. Now the length of the square needs to be, the side of the square has to be CD. So I'm going to measure CD. And then I'm going to swing that arc on this side and on this side. And then from each of these places to finish my square, I'm going to swing an arc and then find out where they intersect. That's where they intersect. So now I can connect all of the points that I need and make my square. All right, now last we're going to construct a square whose diagonal is congruent to CD. So I'm just going to go measure CD again, make sure my compass point hasn't changed. Alright, and now this time I'm going to make my working line. And when I make it, I want it to be the length of CD. And this is going to be a diagonal of my square. So here's my first diagonal. Now, one of the things that I know about the diagonals of a square is that they are perpendicular bisectors of each other. So I'm going to make a football to find the perpendicular bisector. Of the first diagonal that I drew. Alright. And then, since I know I want my diagonals to be congruent, because in a square the diagonals are congruent, I'm going to measure 1/2 of the original diagonal, and I'm going to swing an arc over here. And that will be a vertex of my square. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And now if I connect all of these vertices, I should have made a square that has a diagonal the length of CD. And actually, since the diagonals in a square are congruent, both diagonals should be length CD. Alright, now I want to construct EFG congruent to angle ABC. So I'm going to draw a working line and then copy the angle. So we start by swinging an arc. And then we measure how wide our angle is. And then I can connect that end point of my working line to the intersection of my two arcs. And so then this is angle EFG. Now I want to construct the supplement of angle ABC. Well, that's the same as the supplement of angle EFG. And since I've already copied it here, really all I need to do is extend this line. And this right here is the supplement of angle ABC. So from here to here, the measure of that angle would be equal to the supplement. Okay. Now in part C, I want to construct an angle HIJ whose measure is double that of angle ABC. So I'm going to copy angle ABC again. And then I'm actually going to do it twice. So, make sure my compass width is the same as before. So I just measured to make sure I have the same arc up here. And I swing my arc. And then I figure out how wide it is. And then I swing that arc. So I have just copied angle ABC. And now I'm going to turn the paper a little bit, and I'm going to just do it again. Now I'm going to use this as my working line. So I have to use the same radius I did the first time. So we can continue on here. Then we measure how wide it is. And we put our compass point on the working line, which is our second ray from the first angle we drew. We make that intersection, and we connect. And so now this is angle HIJ, and it has a measure that is twice that of angle ABC. And finally, I'm going to do a 30-degree angle. So for that, I can bisect a 60-degree angle, which we can get by making an equilateral triangle. So if I swing an arc here once I have my base, and then I go to the other side, the same base. If I connect this endpoint of this bottom segment, I'll have a 60-degree angle down here. And now I'm going to bisect that angle, put my compass point on the vertex, swing an arc, put my compass point at each of those intersections, swing those arcs, and now draw the ray connecting the vertex to that intersection point, and I should have two 30-degree angles here. Alright, and then finally I'm going to make a 135-degree angle. I'm going to start by drawing a working line. And 135 is 90 plus 45. So I'm going to start by doing the football construction so that I can get some 90-degree angles. So I have a 90-degree angle on each side there. And then I'm going to bisect these angles. I'm going to extend this line so I have more room. Alright, and now I'm going to swing an arc here, and then I will make the X out this way so I can find out where I need to draw that angle bisector through. And then I will connect the vertex to the intersection point. And so now the angles I have, this angle is 90, this is 45, and this is 45. So that makes this angle right here 135 degrees.